Part 46. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiao. Chapter 470. Come here, a fresh big coconut, the hole has just been drilled, and the straw has been inserted. Xionan stepped up and down, holding a green coconut in her arms, and came to the table where Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian were sitting. Thank you, little sister. Brother Wu, you drink first, I have a lot of little ones here. Yang Yu took the coconut, and under the extremely curious gazes of Little Dream Demon and Mini Dragon, who stretched out their bodies, he handed it to Wu Yuqian first. At this time, the two little elves shrank back with a disappointed expression. Better take care of your elf first, ha ha ha. Wu Yuqian smiled and pushed the big round coconut back to Yang Yu. The heads of the Little Dream Demon and the Mini Dragon raised their heads again in surprise, and their disappointed expressions disappeared. Hey, wait, Yang Yu didn't have time to stop him, and the Mini Dragon rushed towards him with a big head. Boom. Mum. The Mini Dragon used a headbutt on the coconut, and the effect had little effect. The Mini Dragon was damaged by the coconut's counterattack, and the effect was outstanding. The Mini Dragon has lost its fighting power. Yang Yu and Little Menyao looked at the Mini Dragon lying on the table with dizzy eyes speechlessly. This pool of Mini Dragon was as soft as water. It was really comfortable to suck, but it was too greedy. A little. Just like. It's like I've never eaten anything delicious. Etc. Yang Yu suddenly remembered that when the Mini Dragon lived in the Dragon Palace of the East China Sea, the food he ate was indeed something he couldn't name, and seemed to be something similar to seabed sediment. From this point of view, it seems reasonable. When the Mini Dragon sees something delicious, he immediately goes for it. Even the way to eat it is so confusing. Hey, living under the sea is really hard for this little guy. Brother, what's wrong with the Mini Dragon? When Xiaonan came back with a coconut in her arms, she saw the Mini Dragon turned over on the table and seemed motionless, and asked curiously. Yes, the coconut tastes so good. I accidentally got too happy. Yang Yu wiped his sweat. The elves these days don't let trainers worry too much. Then drink more. The most abundant thing here is coconut. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Ni Wentao walked towards Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian with a smile while holding up his shelf. Thanks to you, our Xiaonan is so troublesome. Brother, I know I was wrong, Xiaonan pouted. Zhizhizhi, the long-tailed monster gently patted Ni Wentao's arm, as if to tell Ni Wentao not to be angry. It's okay, you go and help first. Uncle has a lot of coconuts to deliver. Ni Wentao patted the long-tailed monster on the head. Squeak. The long-tailed monster nodded and immediately ran outside. Although Ni Wentao's legs and feet were weak, his hands were very strong. He quickly opened the coconut and handed it to Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian's table. Dadu, give it. Yeah. Xionan, go, I don't know how much coconut water the Gyarados will drink after evolution. Bring some coconuts to your partner and this brother's Gyarados too. I got it, brother. Xiaonan jumped out and ran out with a happy smile on his face. King Carp has always been drinking their coconut water and grew up with Xiaonan. Even if he evolved into a violent carp dragon, will never forget this feeling of nostalgia. Thank you, Yang Yu thanked him. What are you talking about? Thank you. If you really want to say thank you, I have to say it. Ni Wentao waved his hands and carefully moved his legs and feet. Our Xiaonan grew up on the beach with King Carp. He likes to run away a little bit. Ugh, I never thought that Magikarp would evolve into Gyarados. Although I don't know what happened, I'm sure that it must be your help. The evolution of King Magikarp, at least for me at this age, it is really amazing and incredible. Yang Yu scratched his head. There was one thing he thought it would be better not to say out loud, that, although he said it was not a beating or crying before, but... Speaking of which, Yang Yu still made her cry. If Yang Yu knew that someone was bullying Yang Xiao, then he would definitely let the Salted Fish King, the Dead King, the Little Bao Bao, and the group of Gyarados from the Meteor Lake come together. The other person was so frightened that he probably didn't even recognize his mother. You two don't look like ordinary trainers. They should be very powerful. Are they the resident trainers in the gym? Ni Wentao asked cautiously. Yang Yu and Wu Yuqin looked at each other and immediately shook their heads. No, no, just out for fun. Then, do you two want to go out to the South China Sea? It should be necessary. Yang Yu and Wu Yuqin both nodded. The world island is almost in the center of the Pacific Ocean. After leaving the South China Sea, you have to take a long sea route to reach it. It's incredible, you two are really young, Ni Wentao sighed. I should be older than you, but unfortunately my strength is only an intermediate trainer certified by the Alliance. Brother, I'm back. There was a lot of sweat on Xionan's forehead, but she still couldn't see the fatigue on her face, which was still full of excitement. Xiaonan, go get brother's box, Ni Wentao waved his hand. Ah! Brother, you haven't used that fishing rod for a long time. Are you preparing to go out to sea to catch elves? Ni Xionan's eyes suddenly brightened. Once upon a time, his brother was one of the best fishermen. Every time he went out to sea, he could catch some little elves in the sea. King Carp was caught by his brother several years ago. However, since the last accident, his brother has been catching fish. I will never use this fishing rod again. Just go and get it for me, Ni Wentao smiled softly. Xiaonan was holding a bamboo box. This bamboo box was even taller than her, but Xiaonan was still very happy to hold it. We don't have anything special to thank. It's a pity that our parents went fishing with the big boat. Otherwise, I could thank you more. Ni Wentao rubbed his hands on the bamboo box, with a nostalgic look in his eyes. Elves know how to repay kindness, let alone us humans. Ni Wentao pushed the bamboo box in his hand in front of Yang Yu and Wu Yuqin. This is a high-end fishing rod. I once thought that I could use this fishing rod to catch powerful elves in the ocean, thus improving my strength as a trainer. Unfortunately, I was still too young at the time. Xionan is still young and does not need this fishing rod. As two respected young trainers, I hope this fishing rod can help you too when you go to sea this time. High-end fishing rod. Yang Yu and Wu Yuqin couldn't help but sit up straight. They had no idea that such an important elf item would appear here. Although it sounds very mysterious, a high-end fishing rod can catch more precious and rare elves in the water, and there is even a certain chance of catching. The mini-dragon woke up from the dizzy state and looked blankly at the bamboo box on the table, its amethyst-like eyes suddenly lit up. Could it be? What delicious food is in this box? Snap! The mini-dragon learned a lesson this time and opened the box first. Since the shell is inedible, what's inside? Me. 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 The mini-dragon started messing around in the box. Premium fishing rod. Effect, 100% chance of catching a greedy mini-dragon. Yang Yu. Wu Yuqin. Ni Wentao. Pi a League of Legends novel become the strongest foreign aid in LCK. The last daily vote request. Pokémon's character master. Author, AI Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 471. Brother Xiao Yang's mini-dragon, is indeed very cooperative. Ni Wentao felt that he no longer knew what he was talking about, and it was like he shouldn't have said this. The atmosphere was already awkward, but now, it's even more embarrassing. Yang Yu stretched out his hand, holding the neck of the mini-dragon with his left hand, and holding 1/3 of its tail with his right hand. The body of the mini-dragon seemed to form an M shape, and was removed from the box of the high-end fishing rod by Yang Yu. I took it out. Aha! The mini-dragon shrank its head and looked at the lying fishing rod reluctantly, looking very disappointed. It turns out that thing is inedible. Little dream demon, the future diet of the mini dragon will be left to you. Instruct it on what it can and cannot eat. Don't swallow the whole coconut shell. Hey! The little dream demon, who was holding a straw and drinking coconut water, opened his eyes wide as if he heard something terrible, and pointed at the mini dragon with trembling little hands. Did you hear that right, little dream demon? Those eyes full of confusion seemed to say. Are you kidding me? This mini dragon wants to eat, how can the little dream monster stop it? With this big white nose, I'm afraid I won't even know what I ate. Ying ying ying. Okay, just teach it when you usually eat. The mini dragon held in Yang Yu's arms stretched out its neck, looked at the little dream demon with bright eyes, and tapped the little dream demon's face with its soft and smooth white nose. The little dream demon felt so uncomfortable that she wanted to cry but couldn't. Really, the little dream demon even felt that if she hadn't been a ghost elf, this mini dragon would have bumped into her again. Hey, I can't live this day. At the same time, Wu Yuqian summoned his own pot, and under Xiao Nan's curious eyes, poured out 4 cups of pot juice. Come on, let's drink together. Please be sure to accept the high-end fishing rod. It is a wish of mine. If one day you capture the magical elf in the ocean, it would be great if you can bring it here again for me to take a look. Ni Wentao sighed, his tone full of expectation. Take brother's fishing rod and set off towards the sea. Xionan clenched her fists and jumped up excitedly. But what greeted Xionan was a gentle squeeze from Ni Wentao's big hand. Ni Wentao said angrily, I still want to stay here to eat, but you can't wait to drive the 2 saviors out to sea. Ni Xionan shrank his head, stuck out his tongue, put his hands behind his back in embarrassment, and swayed. I was wrong. Ha 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 ha. There was a burst of hearty laughter all around. In Nanhai Island, when he is about to go to sea, Yang Yu will naturally not forget to leave some words for Yang Xiao before going to sea, and write them down on the port stationery. At the same time, there are also some specialties of Nanhai Island, which will be delivered through the big-mouthed gull logistics here. Yang Xiao's school. Everything was ready, even the loose short-sleeved Yang Yu bought several more sets, and even a family version. The extra-large coconut short sleeves worn by Dede, the special edition ones worn by Yang Yu, and the elf special edition worn by Little Dream Demon. Put on your sunglasses and set out coolly. If I could wear a straw hat, I would probably be the Pirate King Luffy in his previous life. Target, the Sea of Stars. Roar. Goodbye 2 big brothers. Goodbye. Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian looked back and could see Xiao Nan next to the Gyarados on the coast, and her brother Ni Wentao who was holding a stent. This trip seems to be quite good, Wu Yuqian couldn't help but sigh. Yes. Yang Yu nodded in agreement. This is probably the charm of adventurous travel in the elf world. No one knows what will happen next, no one knows what kind of trainer or what kind of elves they will meet on the sea. Along the way, just like life, the life of a trainer. Salted Fish King, Xiao Bao Bao, Dudu, I will leave the rest of my safety to you. Roar. Ho ho ho. Yeah. The little dream demon was angry. How could the little dream demon be missed on such an important matter? It can take out the devil's calculator. Me. The mini dragon in Yang Yu's arms also bent its eyes, smiled, swayed and made noises. It works too. Among all the little guys, only Xiao Xiao remained silent and followed the salted fish king Daba with extreme caution. The blue ocean is mysterious and beautiful, but it is full of dangerous possibilities. The little fish was born in the darkness. In the glass container, he has seen things deeper and scarier than the ocean. People's hearts. In the darkness, Xiao Xiao was rescued by King Xianyu and Yang Yu. This experience made Xiao Xiao's heart extremely strong. The ocean deceives many arrogant trainers with its mysterious and beautiful veil, but it cannot deceive the calm eyes of the little fish. The matter between Magi Carp, Xiao Nan, and her brother. The heart of Xiao Xiao, who had been hiding next to the salted fish king, was once again touched. There was a feeling that was getting stronger and stronger. When did this touching feeling start? Xiao Xiao vaguely remembered what Yang Yu once said to it. Beautiful. Ugly. At that time, Xiao Xiao was young and ignorant, and did not know the meaning of Yang Yu's words. Perhaps, if it were not for Yang Yu's careful cultivation and the continued care of Xianyuqing, and encouragement. Now, it's impossible for Xiao Xiao to understand, right? From then on, a small seed took root in the heart of the little fish. As time went by, the seed began to take root, sprout, and grow vigorously. In the top secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace, the unforgettable phantom of the Aurora deeply shocked Xiao Xiao's heart. However, the dazzling splendor could not make it forget its original dream. With King Magikarp's leap, even the newly evolved Gyarados dared to confront the salty fish king at high altitudes. There was such a huge disparity in strength between them. All because of the deep bond between Magikarp and that little girl. Perhaps, it's to protect that little girl's most innocent smile, right? Huja huji. The little fish didn't jump up suddenly. It didn't attract Yang Yu's attention like the little dream monster and the mini dragon. However, it has made up its mind deeply in its heart. This time I go to see. Xiao Xiao will do everything possible to protect his master Yang Yu. Certainly. Xiao Xiao also wants to protect the salted fish king the stupid king The sun was shining high, and the waves on the sea seemed to begin to reflect the shining golden light. Even Yang Yu and Xianyuqing didn't notice. The last dim scale on the little fish suddenly completed the final golden puzzle piece. Please vote. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 472. Now there are no land islands in sight, Yang Yu, are you feeling panicked? Wu Yuqian joked. It's not bad, more or less, but after going to the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace before, I feel a lot less like this now. Yang Yu smiled faintly, then asked, by the way, Brother Wu, which secret realm did you go to this time? I'm not going this time, I'm keeping it for now. I've almost raised enough elves now, so I'm not in a hurry. Besides, I also have an extra Kantaro that appeared inexplicably in the meteor forest. I'm so angry. Wu Yuqian immediately gritted his teeth about this. Yang Yu silently shut his mouth. Although he didn't know what happened to senior brother Qian after returning from the competition, but from the expression on his face now, there seems to be a story in it. My home is on the prairie. Yang Yu, you know that. That idiot Kantaro acts like he has never seen a prairie. He dares to run so fast in the meteor forest. When he reaches the flat grassland, he still doesn't take off. Wu Yuqian felt that he shouldn't have released the leader of Kantaro. Oh no, he shouldn't have taken him back in the first place. He was like an immortal. This bull was almost as crazy as the bull demon king. Having fun is like chasing the lost youth towards the sunset. Yang Yu probably made up the scene in his mind. Kantaro took 3 steps and jumped, and he could even do some postures and other movements. I was like a turtle, this is too scary. It's okay if you stay calm, but here's the problem. Male sheep itself is not a particularly active little elf. It eats grass when it's time to eat grass. As soon as Kantaro arrives, it's over. The entire male sheep the group was being chased by a Kantaro. Horrible. Yang Yu can almost understand Wu Yuqian's mood. The leader of the Kantaro group is strong enough. This time he joins the sheep group. It is estimated that the leader of the Kentaro group has not been in charge for a long time and he can't wait to lead a new group. Although there is no Kentaro group to lead, the next best thing is the Male sheep. The picture is too beautiful to imagine. Let's not talk about that bastard Kentaro. Speaking of the secret realm, I have a little tidbit. There will probably be some movement in the iceberg secret realm in the northwest by the end of this year. It's hard to say for sure. Every year, there will be some adventure-based events. The trainers went there on their own, but the situation was not very good. Some things happened. This year the Elf Alliance seems to have a lot of confidence. It seems that they have invited a superpower to help. Wu Yuqin thought for a moment. Road. Yang Yu was a little surprised. When Wu Yuqin mentioned the word superpower, the four words super Hudi inevitably appeared in his mind, and at the same time, the shadow of Lao Hudi also appeared. Invited by the Elf Alliance, perhaps only Lao Hudi can have such an honor. Regarding the secret realm on the northwest iceberg, the Elf Alliance has not taken the initiative to develop it on a large scale. It is a top-level secret realm that is extremely dangerous. The unpredictable snowstorm weather alone is enough to make some trainers drink a bottle. As for wanting to explore in depth, in one word, it's difficult. I will save the opportunity first. If there is anything good in the iceberg secret realm, I will go there again when it is safely opened like the top secret realm in Jinbei Mountain, Wu Yuqin said shrewdly. Senior brother Qian still has the foresight. Yang Yu cupped his hand. Junior brother Han was just joking. It's just my humble opinion. It's just my humble opinion, Wu Yuqin also handed over. It was already afternoon, and the sun was a little hot. Even on the ocean, you could still feel the heat. Mum. The mini-dragon was lying helplessly in Yang Yu's arms. Its tender body seemed to have been steamed, and even its eyes began to become weak. Yang Yu wanted to throw the mini-dragon into the sea water and soak it before fishing it out. Come up, but the mini-dragon is just paralyzed here, just like a cooked salted fish. Can you make some progress? Haha, let me look for it. The current environment is quite suitable for my tropical dragon. I'll let it fly above and sprinkle some cooling water mist on us. Wu Yuqin looked at the appearance of the mini-dragon and couldn't help it. Zhu took out the elf ball and summoned his elf in the direction of the air. Yang Yu, let your dumb dynasty spray some water in the air. No problem, Dudu, help tropical dragon, Yang Yu said helplessly. But having said that, the mini-dragon is now Yang Yu's cold baby. Holding it here, it is cold and very comfortable in this hot afternoon. Considering this, if Yang Yu threw it into the sea and fished it out again, there would probably be sea water. Yeah. Oh dash. The three huge propeller-like leaves behind the tropical dragon were flying above the salted fish king like a helicopter. At the same time, Dede behind him spat out extremely powerful water guns and water jets in the direction of the tropical dragon in the air. When lightly hitting the blades of grass on the propeller, this small area seemed like mist began to fall. Whether it was the salty fish king, the mini-dragon, or the little dream monster, all the elves enjoyed this refreshing taste. The mini-dragon, which looked like a salted fish, was now alive. Under the cool mist, it was enjoying itself, rolling, and then rolling. Plop! The mini-dragon accidentally rolled from Yang Yu's arms onto the back of the salted fish king, and finally slipped directly into the sea. Aha! The mini-dragon stuck its head out of the sea, as if it didn't know what kind of scandal it had just done. It even looked left and right and shook its head, looking quite happy. The optimistic family will never be slaves. Yang Yu rubbed his aching head and said, "Oh, it's over." When the mini-dragon is about to entangle him, when the sun shines, his clothes will be covered with salt grains. They will probably look like the long strips of the mini-dragon. The mini-dragon entered the water and went to play with the little golden fish in front. Yang Yu breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the little dream demon. only to find that the little dream demon started a rhythmic dance in the mist. "Brother Wu, let's take a short break here. It's just right. While we're resting, how about trying this high-end fishing rod? You can do whatever you want. If you don't summon the tropical dragon, I haven't even discovered it yet. The banana-like fruit under its neck is already ripe. We can pick it off later and eat some." It's a coincidence that Wu Yuqian just raised his head and saw the yellow bananas under the tropical dragon's neck. When he first chose to capture a tropical dragon, Wu Yuqian valued this aspect of the tropical dragon. Yang Yu couldn't help but touch his nose. Going forward with senior brother Qian this time is simply the most correct choice for me. Unexpectedly, in addition to the kettle tree fruit juice and milk Kenmu milk, there are also banana fruits on the neck of the tropical dragon to eat. When the tropical flying dragon slowly approached the sea, Wu Yuqian could just reach out and reach the banana under the tropical dragon's neck. Me. 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 The moment Wu Yuqian just touched the banana, there was an elf even faster than him. It jumped up from the sea like a rocket. Yang Yu looked at the mini dragon hanging on the neck of the tropical dragon, and the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. "No, weren't you playing with Xiao Xiao in front just now? Why couldn't you help yourself when you saw the food? Tropical dragon fishing for mini dragons, whoever wants to take the bait." Yang Yu didn't even know if he was a little dazzled just now or something. Did the mini dragon use dragon dance just now? Even if it is really used, just for this? Yang Yu looked at the mini dragon hanging in the air. "Mini dragon, please leave the group. Keep asking for votes." Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 473. Tropical dragons are popular elves in the forests of tropical areas, especially children living in tropical rainforests. For them, tropical dragons are the best childhood playmates. Not only does it have a gentle personality, but it is also a natural playground. In a hot environment, the cool large leaves on the back of the tropical dragon are an excellent place to play, whether playing on the leaves or enjoying the coolness under the leaves. The most noteworthy thing is the banana-like fruit hanging from the neck of the tropical dragon. It is very attractive to children, and as a mini dragon that lives on the bottom of the sea all year round and rarely eats fruit, it is simply a weapon for dragon fishing, as it is now. Principal Wang just likes hot dogs. The tropical dragon's two big eyes stared blankly at the mini dragon hanging around his neck and biting the fruit. Soon, a joyful and kind smile appeared on his face. The feeling of being so sought after by the elf is quite good. Yang Yu could no longer complain about the mini dragon's dedication to eating. "I really can't imagine what the mini dragon would have become if it had been hanging there like a farm sausage. It was a bit too much. Is it a bit snakeskin?" Uh. Faced with Yang Yu's tug on its tail, the mini dragon let out an unyielding cry. "It can hold on a little longer. You come down first, mini dragon. It's not like I won't let you eat. If you hang up like this, you might not eat all the banana peels. Come down, come down." The mini dragon's blue-purple eyes are full of determination. It firmly believes in the fact that only what is eaten into its stomach is its own. Anyway, just don't let go. Twist, twist again. The mini dragon's body is inherently slippery. In the past, in the rockery deep in the Dragon Palace, Kuai Long couldn't do anything like hide and seek. Come down, come down. Come down and eat again. Yang Yu originally wanted to reach out and use the Yang Yu's hand move that even the Carp King was afraid of. Unfortunately, he could only grab the mini dragon's back with blue-purple scales, but not the white belly, which was soft and smooth. No. No. The mini dragon swayed and twisted, its body like a water snake, slippery. "If you don't come down, I'll have to use a trick." Yang Yu lengthened his voice. The mini dragon bit its mouth tightly and made up its mind, no matter what method Yang Yu used, it would not go down. "Look, Many dragon, what's delicious is in my hand. Yang Yu took out a box of energy cubes and a cucumber from his pocket. Before coming, Yang Yu continued to prepare enough energy cubes specially for Xiao Xiao to eat, which can enhance the beauty. This also allowed Yang Yu to get a batch of free gifts, which were naturally cucumbers and facial masks. I have two delicious things here, come down here. To deal with a foodie like a mini dragon who has never seen the world, Yang Yu only needs to take out two edible things. After all, in terms of variety alone, there are more banana fruits than the banana fruits tied under the neck of the tropical dragon. The mini dragon will choose two but not one. Plop. Aha. The mini dragon fell from the tropical dragon's neck into the water in an instant, then swam hard into the sea next to Yang Yu, and jumped out of the sea again. Isn't it easy to deal with a greedy little guy like you? Yang Yu, who was proud of the effectiveness of his operation, easily forgot one thing. The smile froze on Yang Yu's face. Yang Yu only felt a snow-white scarf with a blue-purple luster rushing towards his face. At the same time, it stirred up a splash of sea water and pushed it directly towards his face. Tangled. Bundle. In the eyes of the mini dragon, only the energy cube and the crystal cucumber were left. As for Yang Yu and so on, in the eyes of foodies at this stage, how could they be as important as the first two? Aha! Yang Yu felt that he was not feeling well. He had promised not to get wet by the sea water anymore. He had promised not to let the mini dragon soaked in sea water get entangled with him. Why doesn't he have a long memory? The mini dragon excitedly wrapped around Yang Yu's neck tightly, fearing that the tool man who could feed it would escape. Seeing the sparkling energy cubes in the box, the mini dragon moved closer excitedly. Aha! Wu Yuqian looked at Yang Yu in front of him. This scene was a bit unbearable to look at. Seeing the way the mini dragon wrapped around Yang Yu, it was probably about to wrap around Yang Yu's head. This scene was like seeing his own savage bull Kentaro. It was as if he had lost his mind. This is not trap, Hu. It seems that every family has a difficult scripture to recite. Wu Yuqian waved, and the tropical dragon lowered its neck enthusiastically, allowing Wu Yuqian to pick a small batch of banana fruits. Passing one to Dede, Wu Yuqian peeled one off himself, and then took this opportunity to watch a show, and enjoy the show. After all, there are not many opportunities to see Yang Yu make a fool of himself. That's how raising elves is. Each elf has a different character and has its own personality. Seeing Yang Yu luring the mini dragon to come down but being attacked by the mini dragon, Wu Yuqian feels like. What a great meal. Senior brother Qian, you are too unkind. Through Yang Yu's pitiful vision, he saw Wu Yuqian watching the show happily. Yang Yu felt so miserable. Ha ha ha, everyone has this experience. However, seeing junior brother Han's experience like this, I don't know why, but I feel very happy. Although I also know that happiness cannot be imposed on others' pain, but here is the problem, this is really funny. Wu Yuqian laughed while not forgetting to pass a banana to Yang Yu. Yang Yu. It was impossible to get the mini dragon off his neck. Yang Yu took the banana, peeled it open, and called the little dream demon over. The little dream monster has already set its sights on this banana, but compared to the mini dragon, it is still very restrained because the little dream demon's hands are too short. It is almost difficult to peel a banana with her own small hands. It may even take a long time to peel it. How can Yang Yu peel it quickly? Although mini dragon was still chewing in his mouth, his eyes kept staring at the peeled banana in Yang Yu's hand. However, mini dragon now felt that his belly was bulging, and he really couldn't eat anything else. Can't go down anymore. Don't underestimate the satiety effect of energy cubes. After all, not all elves are like the salted fish king. Energy cubes are like small beans. Although the mini dragon needs a lot of energy to grow, at this stage, it can grow at once. Eating about 4 to 5 energy cubes is enough to fill you up, and it's the kind that makes you feel full. Feed the little dream monster tropical fruits such as bananas. It will eat like a kitten, eating in small bites, eating very slowly, and its cheeks will move when chewing, which is very cute. Yang Yu was very patient. Of course, this was also educating the mini dragon. There is no one who eats like eating jujubes. The salted fish king is an exception. The salted fish king is a special case. You see, it's fine now. I'm full just by eating energy cubes. I can't eat any other delicious food. Yang Yu raised his hand a little, and the eyes of the mini dragon were raised. When he lowered his hand a little, the head of the mini dragon lowered a little. Without exception, his eyes were staring straight at the greedy dragon's banana. Me. 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 The feeling of wanting to eat but having a completely full stomach made the mini dragon's two jewel-like eyes swell like waves. Blue thin, shiitake mushroom. I really want to eat, but what should I do if I feel too full? Little Xiao, come and eat some fruit. Yang Yu waved to the little fish in the sea. The beautiful golden color jumped up from the sea and was extremely dazzling in the sun. Huja huji. Seeing the mini dragon's expression gradually turning into aggrieved, Yang Yu hummed softly. Small sample. Do you dare to do it next time? Mum. Dare again next time. Get off work, please vote. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 474. The voyage on the sea has reached a relatively stable period. With Wu Yuqian here, there won't be any problems in the general direction. If we continue to travel at this speed, no accident will happen. Even if we go to the coastal cities of Australia, we will have plenty of time and we will still be able to reach the center island of the world in advance. Along the way, with the salted fish king around, ordinary elves in the sea would not mess with them. Likewise, with Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian behind him, the salted fish king would naturally not dive into the deep sea. Chase those little elves? Not to mention, in the sea not far from the salted fish king, Xiao Baobao has been performing escort missions. Look at the sky, it's probably going to rain. With the help of the dream-inducing taper man, Wu Yuqian walked steadily on the back of the salted fish king, stretching his muscles and bones. Are you looking for a small island? Yang Yu asked calmly. He currently didn't have much experience in sea navigation, so he naturally wanted to ask more questions. We haven't encountered any rain in the past 7 or 8 days, and it's about time we did. I'll go up to the air first to see which direction there are islands. As for us, we can just make steady progress. Wu Yuqian didn't look nervous. For rainy days at sea, the safest solution is to find an island. Come out, Bai Diao. Hold head high. A gust of wind came from the sky. On the boundless sea, Bai Diao did not dare to be careless and very carefully helped Wu Yuqian onto its back. Yang Yu, I'll go up and check the specific direction. Pay attention to safety, Yang Yu responded. In the sea, flying is a good choice. However, compared to flying, sailing on the sea will be more labor-saving for Salted Fish King. Coupled with the hot weather during the day and various factors such as ample time, most of the time is floating on the sea. There is another more important factor, that is, both Salted Fish King and Xiao Xiao have a deep yearning for the sea. As for flying to the sky, no, that's not called conquering the sea, but conquering the blue sky. The rain is falling. Yang Yu's eyes blinked slightly. When the rain fell on his body, he felt a little cold, as if all the stuffy heat had been dissipated, but it was still a little damp. Yeah. Dada took out an umbrella from the golden conch cap, but after feeling the wind on the sea, he took the umbrella back, then stretched out his hand and drew a square shape around it to block the sky above Yang Yu. Dada lowered his head and hugged the incubator of the Tajipai elf egg tightly. It might be a little cold later, so he had to take good care of this little guy who hadn't broken out of his shell yet. The mini-dragon finally freed Yang Yu's neck and shoulders, quickly climbed to the place where it was caught by the rain, and rolled happily on the spot. Then he realized something, and immediately turned around to look at Yang Yu and the little one with wide eyes. The dream demon seems to be saying, "It's such a nice weather, why don't you go out and get wet in the rain?" Yang Yu and little dream demon shook their heads at the same time. They don't like getting wet in the rain. The mini-dragon is not disappointed either. On rainy days, of course he has to dance happily. Tick-tock tick, tick-tock tick. Following the rhythm of the falling rain, the mini-dragon danced on the broad back of the salted fish king. The rain gently hits the mini-dragon's body, moisturizing the mini-dragon's body and making the scales on its back shine brighter. "Yang Yu, we've found the island, go ahead and to the right, and move forward at full speed." After Wu Yuqian discovered the island, he immediately returned to the salted fish king's back and put away the eagle in the air. This is different from the last rescue operation in the elf secret realm. When sailing on the sea, the trainer must save the elf's physical strength as much as possible. Coupled with the wind on the sea, if flying in the air, the risk factor is higher than on the sea. Sailing is much bigger. Okay, salted fish king, let's speed up. On rainy days, everyone will sail much faster in the water. Roar. The salted fish king nodded and moved towards the target direction, speeding up. Many water-type elves have the characteristic of swimming freely. In a rainy environment, their speed will double their original speed, and Xiaoxiao is no exception. The greatly increased traveling speed makes Xiaoxiao confident about his own abilities. Have a clearer understanding. Yang Yu, look, there are a lot of water elves jumping out of the water on the sea over there, Wu Yuqian pointed into the distance. Yang Yu stood up and looked around. Indeed, under normal circumstances, water elves are rarely seen on the sea. However, in a rainy environment, those elves seem to have activated their characteristics and began to parade quickly through the water. It's a pity that our high-end fishing rod will probably not be of use for the time being. Yang Yu shook his head. There is no particularly good opportunity to use this fishing rod these days, but it doesn't matter. It will be used when we go deeper into the Pacific Ocean. By then, there will be more rare water elves. Do you still lack powerful water elves? Wu Yuqian rolled his eyes. Tell me, what other water elves can catch your eye? Although the mini-dragon does not have the attribute of water, after all, it still lives in water. Even if you catch the little dragon elves in there, and others like the goldfish king, you won't be able to catch them, right? You can't say that, senior brother Qian. You may not believe it. When I caught my salted fish king, I caught it from a river with a broken fishing rod, Yang Yu retorted with a smile. A broken fishing rod. It's the kind that can only catch carp. I originally thought about catching a horned goldfish, but I fished for a whole day, and I caught a salted carp. Well, here it is now. This is the one. Yang Yu told the story of the first time he met the salted fish king. When he talks about it, he really misses it. Sharp. Wu Yuqian couldn't help but sigh. The most amazing thing about junior brother Han is here, even he has to admire him. Like those in China, Cai Xuanyi, Zhang Kaixiang, Zhang Huiyu, Wang Kaizhu and others, including Wu Yuqian himself, the first elf is definitely better than junior brother Han's Carp King by more than 1 or 2 points. But now, Magikarp's counterattack is also the counterattack of civilian trainers. After all, at the beginning of his journey as a trainer, there was no other choice but to choose Magikarp as his first partner, with countless difficulties. But now, Yang Yu appeared, and even led the salted fish king to the front of his peers, even much ahead. During this period, an incredible legend was born. Since I have a high-end fishing rod, I have to try it while I'm out on the sea. With better luck, I won't be able to meet little elves like the spiny dragon king or the roaring whale. It's impossible for me to catch the carp king when I'm already in the sea. Right, Yang Yu curled his lips. The island in the sea has arrived. Keep asking for votes. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 475. This one, the name shown on the azimuth map instrument is, Vensang Island. It is a medium-sized island. There are basically no powerful elves, and there don't seem to be any rare elves. After Wu Yuqian set up the tent, he picked up the positioning equipment and an island manual prepared for this trip, and handed another one to Yang Yu. I prepared an extra book before I came here, just in case you didn't think of preparing these things, Wu Yuqian said with a smile. Haha, senior brother Qian, thank you very much. I really didn't expect to prepare such a thing, Yang Yu scratched his head. It's a small thing. After you go to sea once, you basically have a good idea. Besides, didn't you prepare facial masks, cucumbers, and sunscreen? Just be responsible for looking beautiful, Wu Yuqian teased with a smile. Yang Yu rolled his eyes. Senior brother Qian didn't know how much of his personality Yang Yu had sacrificed in order to set an example for Xiao Xiao. Did Yang Yu want to make a facial mask himself? Did Yang Yu buy those cucumbers himself? No. It was clearly given to Xiao Xiao when he purchased those beauty-enhancing energy cubes. You can't give it away, and it would be a pity to lose it, so you might as well use it yourself. Besides, I don't see senior brother Qian using these things less these days. Here on Vensang Island, there is a record in the island manual that there are trees with fruits. It just so happens that when it gets a little brighter, go and collect some. You can squeeze juice for Huhu on the way. Wu Yuqian did not continue to tease, looking at his hand. The manual in continues. Roar. Yang Yu was about to answer, but he heard the confused roar of the Salted Fish King behind him. He turned around and looked at the Salted Fish King with doubtful eyes. Did the Salted Fish King find something? Rustling, rustling. There seemed to be some sound in the woods on the island, but it was a bit like the sound made by falling raindrops hitting the leaves. The rain covered up the movement in the forest. Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian became alert. After exchanging glances at each other, they looked very carefully into the depths of the island. The Salted Fish King would definitely be able to discover the details that he and Wu Yuqian couldn't discover. As a powerful elf, he was unusually sensitive to the external environment on this rainy day. Since the Salted Fish King has set his sights on the island, there must be secrets that Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian cannot discover in this island that is now covered by rainy weather and lush forests. According to the records of Vensang Island in the manual, although there is no particular danger, the necessary precautions must be taken. Were there any elves just now? Wu Yuqian asked in a low voice. Yang Yu didn't dare to relax and nodded slightly. It's possible that the Salted Fish King may have discovered something, but it's raining now, and the sound of rain in the rainforest on this island will cover up the sounds of the elves moving. Yes, the rainforest is their natural refuge, so we'd better be careful. Wu Yuqian nodded solemnly. Can you see clearly what kind of elf is in the forest? Yang Yu asked in a low voice. Yeah. Scratched the back of his head, and soon, the purple light bulb on his forehead flashed twice. Great. Dede, help us draw it. Yang Yu felt a little relieved. If Dede can draw what the elf looks like, then Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian can identify what it is. Such an elf. I hope it's not a poisonous elf like a bio monster. If you meet a poisonous elf on a sea island, it will still be very troublesome. Yeah. He nodded blankly, and quickly reached out and tapped his fingertips on the beach on the ground. A small body with 4 small legs and a particularly large leaf on top of its head. At first, the two of them didn't recognize each other, but when Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian saw the big leaf drawn on the elf's head, they glanced at each other and said in unison, "Chrysanthemum leaves?" Yeah. He closed his eyes blankly and nodded, indicating that Yang Yu and Wu Yuqin were right. It's chrysanthemum leaves? Jalajalua. At what looked like the entrance to the rainforest, a very small elf popped out. Although the sky was a little dark, the outline, especially the big leaf on the head, was not just a dully drawn chrysanthemum leaf. What? Vensang Island is actually covered with chrysanthemum leaves? This, isn't it? Chrysanthemum leaves belong to a relatively rare elf, and in the records of this island, there has never been any mention of the discovery of chrysanthemum leaves or the evolved bay leaf of chrysanthemum leaves. Logically speaking, this shouldn't be the case. Generally speaking, on an island like this, not to mention Yang Yu and Wu are rich, those trainers who traveled on the sea in the past would always go to the forest of the island to explore. It is normal for a group of people not to discover it. There is no way it will always be there. Someone discovered it? This island is not the kind of controlled elven secret land. Quack. Quack. Chant. In the shocked eyes of Yang Yu and Wu Yuqin, there were not only chrysanthemum leaves on the island, but also many bay leaves and chrysanthemums, no, geraniums. This is already a species. How could this be possible? How could so many chrysanthemum leaves, bay leaves, and even geraniums appear in this ordinary Vensang island? More importantly, why didn't they continue to hide in the forest and come out at this time? Quack. Chant. Jalajalua. Under the leadership of 4 geraniums, these laurel leaves and chrysanthemum leaves gathered one after another. They looked like they were lined up in a neat square team. Under the incredulous and confused looks of Yang Yu and Wu Yuqin, walking towards the direction of Salted Fish King. Roar. An unknown light shone in the eyes of the Salted Fish King. They been here? Quack. At the order of the leader geranium, all the bay leaves and chrysanthemum leaves, including geranium, bowed their heads deeply and knelt down in the direction of the Salted Fish King. 3 months ago, the island home of geraniums, bayleaf, and chrysanthemum leaf was hit by an irresistible tsunami and tornado. Many poor chrysanthemum leaf could not hold their companions tightly due to their insignificant strength, and was destroyed by the tsunami. Washed away, blown away by the tornado. They thought that after the tsunami and tornado, the island would return to peace as before, but a terrible fact faced them. The island may sink. The entire population of geraniums are not the native elves of the island. Before this, they have also faced the survival crisis of the island sinking. Faced with such a crisis, they must unite and find the next island to live on. But where will the next island be? They don't know. However, they must make a decision before the island sinks completely. Should you choose to sink with the island, or rush to the sea, looking for that tiny glimmer of life? In the end, they chose the latter. Geranium, the oldest in the population, had experienced that extremely critical island migration and is now the best example. In order to survive, they rushed to the sea. Poor chrysanthemum grass leaf, maybe some of them have not experienced the happy living life in the tropical rainforest, but they have to embark on this road of survival with a near-death life. Under the leadership of geranium, they began a migration that was related to the survival of the race. Where is the unknown island? The clear sky on the sea is exposed to the sun. There are also terrifying giant waves that rise from time to time, natural enemies in the air, and unknown elves on the bottom of the sea. Everything makes the hope of migration extremely slim. Can anyone save this population that is about to disappear in the ocean? In that desperate moment, in the ocean, a red team appeared that the remaining chrysanthemum leaves, bay leaves, and geraniums would never forget. At the front of the square red team, there was an elf that looked ferocious, terrifying, and without any emotions. It was a Gyarados. The geraniums thought, that will be their last days. When the chrysanthemum leaves tremble and curl up, like boiled dumplings on the sea, thinking that they are about to be eaten. A miracle was born at that moment. The chrysanthemum leaves discovered. They were actually on the backs of the red carp kings who formed a phalanx. Magi carp, take them on the sea. Behind the Gyarados at the front. Carrying 4 geraniums on my back. It's Gyarados, and Magikarp's army. It's the king, he brings life and hope. The chrysanthemums and grass leaves curiously asked the carp kings who their king was. Their king. It's the biggest Gyarados in the world. This kneeling is for the life and hope of the species. The salted fish king has a distant gaze. This island has its legends. Damn it, whispering, keep asking for votes. Pokemon's character master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 476. On the island, the rain falls more frequently. Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian couldn't help but keep silent, for fear that their sound would affect the pious kneeling of the chrysanthemum and grass leaves group. All around, there was only the sound of patter of raindrops, and even the sea breeze seemed not to dare to disturb the atmosphere on the island. It was eerily quiet. The little dream demon clutched Yang Yu's hair tightly. Its black eyes were already soaked with tears. It bit its mouth tightly, feeling the survival from desperate situation and new life that filled the air on the island. Gratitude. Me, Gu. The mini-dragon was sighing blankly, but immediately realized that this was not the time to sigh, and quickly swallowed the sound of in his stomach. Dede silently hugged the egg incubator in his arms tightly with both hands. Yalu, Alu, it turns out that Xian is also doing so many things silently. Xian is so awesome. Time passes quietly. Roar. Following the deep roar of the salted fish king, the chrysanthemum leaves of this group, led by Geranium, slowly stood up. They raised their heads and looked up, looking up. The biggest king in the world that the carp kings told them. There is only the salted fish king. There is only the salted fish king. Quack. The eldest geranium in the team signaled the 3 geraniums, bay leaves, and chrysanthemum leaves behind them to make way for the respected Lord Salted Fish King, and led him to their camp. Jalajalua. Some of the chrysanthemum grass leaf had a little doubt, Mr. Salted Fish King, he is so big, will it burst their camp? This question stunned the bay leaves around them, and then whispered it to the geranium. The 3 geraniums once again looked up at the tall and incredible Mr. Salted Fish King. Finally, some courage, he looked at the geranium leader tremblingly. Like. This doesn't seem like it, this is inevitable. Roar. The Salted Fish King understood the thoughts of geranium, bay leaf, and chrysanthemum leaf. However, he did not want to disturb the lives of these elves. If this was the repayment of the entire chrysanthemum leaf population, it was King Carp who should repay it. The army and the Gyarados leading the Magi Carp army. Chant. A bayleaf in the group had a new idea. Quack. The leader of Geranium agreed with bayleaf's decision. Jalajalua. Jalajalua. The chrysanthemum leaves lined up one after another quickly ran back to the island's rainforest, including bayleaf, who plunged into the rainforest. The solemn atmosphere on the island finally dispersed. Yang Yu blinked, not daring to take a breath. The same goes for Wu Yuqian. Who would have thought that such a large-scale scene would occur here on the island? At this time, Leader Geranium also noticed 2 transparent people, Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian. However, Leader Geranium was always wary of external trainers. Roar. The Salted Fish King just roared calmly, and the Geranium leader finally let down his guard, and his eyes began to become friendly. He is the trainer of Mr. Salted Fish King. That's okay. So, the chrysanthemum leaves, bay leaves, and geraniums here on Vensang Island all migrated from another island. Wu Yuqian thought of the key. After thinking about it, there is only one reasonable explanation. So here comes the question. The islands in the sea are very far apart. If they really migrated here, would these little elves be unable to fly? Quack. The leader of Geranium glanced in the direction of Mr. Salted Fish King. At the same time, two vine whips appeared behind the circle of pink petals on his neck. At the same time, these two vine whips were drawn on the beach. Paintings began to be added next to the fallen chrysanthemum leaves. A bunch of magi carp. Gyarados. Isn't this the Carp King's army in Meteor Lake? Wu Yuqian looked at the Carp King painted in a square formation and recognized it at a glance, but Wu Yuqian's mind was in a mess. This is not, how is this possible? This is clearly in the sea. How did the Carp King army in Meteor Lake come to the sea? No wonder Geranium and the others have such respect for the Salted Fish King. Yang Yu sighed in his heart, all of which were explained smoothly. After the forest team competition of the national competition, Yang Yu accompanied the Salted Fish King in the Meteor Lake and said goodbye to the 5 Gyarados and the King of Carp's army in the forest. Among the southeast, northwest, one of the Gyarados and the young Magi Carp stayed behind at Meteor Lake, while the remaining 4 Gyarados and the Magi Carp army headed in 4 different directions. During the rescue in the secret realm of the Chunlin River, Yang Yu encountered a group of people. Unexpectedly, 3 or 4 months later, on Vensang Island in the sea, he encountered the traces left by the Carp King army again. This was the trace left by them. A legend. They have been creating the legend of the entire Magi Carp population. Mum. The mini dragon wrapped around Yang Yu's neck moved. Even, there is still some strength in moving. Yang Yu almost felt suffocated. Jalajalua. Me. What did the mini dragon find? It saw the chrysanthemum leaves jumping out of the forest, one after another fresh tree fruits wrapped with vine whips. Want to eat? Want to eat? Want to eat rice? The mini dragon happily jumped directly to the side of the chrysanthemum leaves, staring directly at the rainforest tree fruits wrapped behind the chrysanthemum leaves. Its body was like a bent spring, following the chrysanthemum leaves stupidly. The leaves jumped rhythmically on the beach. Yang Yu held his forehead. This is too shameful. What the hell was this done by a dragon? These chrysanthemum grass leaves are not elves to be trifled with. They have experienced the crisis of population migration and are much more mature than other young elves. Vine whip. Bundle. These fruits are for the majestic Salted Fish King. You look so silly and want to eat the fruits. What kind of biscuit are you? Without saying a word, the Jacquet people worked together to tie up the jumping mini dragon. Offer up. It must be supplied to Mr. Salted Fish King. Leave it to Mr. Salted Fish King to punish. If you could show your dog tags in the elf world. At this time, the mini dragon should have something like a dog tag on its head. Even if it is tied up, it cannot stop it. Oh, I can't be happy anymore. The binding of geraniums is much stronger than that of chrysanthemum leaves. Yang Yu looked at the sanctioned mummy-like mini dragon. He didn't know why, but he felt helpless and happy at the same time. This complex emotion could not be described in words. Why? If Kuai Long knew that his little mini dragon had become like this, I don't know if he would be happy again. Wu Yuqian looked at the chrysanthemum leaves and laurel leaves with fruits behind him. He couldn't help but rub his eyes. He looked in the direction of Yang Yu and complained uncontrollably, "Junior brother Han, this has already reached a big stage. We are at sea, can you please stop the plug-in at Meteor Lake? This plug-in is too." Before Wu Yuqian finished speaking, he suddenly felt the vibration of the elf ball in his pocket. Oh dash! Wu Yuqian's voice stopped suddenly. Tropical Dragon, how did you get out on your own at this time? G-twist. A certain female geranium in the team suddenly opened her eyes. Please vote. Please vote. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 477. Tropical Dragon, what are you doing? Stop it. Wu Yuqian didn't continue what he had said before. He just stared at the tropical dragon flying in the sky. Swing. No, it's not just swaying, even the flapping leaf wings on its back seemed to take off with excitement, spinning rapidly, as if to show off its flying ability. Even Wu Yuqian has never experienced the speed of wing flapping and rotation. Senior brother Jian, can you, a tropical dragon? Yang Yu hissed and took a breath of air. He looked at Wu Yuqian up and down inexplicably. This man, actually had a cheat on. No. If I say no, I can't. Wu Yuqian still hasn't come out of the shadow of being tortured by Kentaro. What the hell, he was tricked by a cow back then. Wu Yuqian still wants to lose face. Of. Senior brother Jian, is this tropical dragon of yours a male or a female? Yang Yaduo asked. It's a male tropical dragon, Wu Yuqian said angrily. Then shouldn't we facilitate this matter? This deceives a female geranium, grass elf, as an auxiliary elf, it is not too strong, Yang Yu said with a smile. Wu Yuqian lowered his head and thought for a while, and then said, why do these words sound so familiar? Did you also say the same thing last time when I met the leader of Kentaro? Yang Yu coughed and waved his hands repeatedly, no, no, no. At this time, the tropical dragon slowly landed on the ground. It looked very coquettish, probably like what people often say picking up girls. In front of the female geranium that made eye contact, it jumped up and danced on the ground, especially the wings spread out on its back, as if it wanted to hug geranium and protect her. Jalajaluo. G. Chrysanthemums and grass leaves rarely see such a scene. Each of them has a curious and even joyful look in their eyes, and their eyes are even sparkling and crystal clear under the exaggeration of raindrops. For the elves in their own circle, there is nothing more beautiful than love, friendship, and family affection. If you can see the love story between geranium and tropical dragon, it will be a great blessing for the entire group. A big inspiration. Got twist. The female geranium looks a little shy. Having experienced migration in the sea, this female geranium understands very well that it would be great if they could fly. If they could fly, they could save more chrysanthemum leaves. The appearance of the tropical dragon and its powerful flying ability make the heartbeat of the female geranium speed up again. Quack. The elder geranium leader is very happy to see such a thing happen. After all, being able to find a male tropical dragon as a female geranium's lifelong partner may be the luckiest thing for a female geranium. This is especially true for tropical dragons. The smell from the petals on the geranium's neck can soothe the hearts of elves and humans. For tropical dragons, it not only soothes the soul, but also has a kind of effect that makes the leaf wings on his body revitalizing energy. After checking the eyes, I met the right elf companion. Senior brother Jian, what do you think? Yang Yu stretched out his elbow and gently touched Wu Yuqian's shoulder. Wu Yuqian rolled his eyes, how can I see it? Geraniums are rare elves after all, and the scent of geranium petals also has the effect of making trainers and elves calm and focused. In comparison, it's countless times better than that bull. Oh dash. The next second, Wu Yuqian and Yang Yu closed their eyes together. It was still so painful to inflict another critical blow to the single dog's soul. The tropical dragon's chin is stuck to the geranium's head, and the two flower stamens on the top of the geranium's head are spread out comfortably. The tropical dragon seems to be smelling the sweet scent of the geranium's hair. Similarly, the geranium is also confirming the scent of the tropical dragon beard. Why am I always the one who's hurt? Wu Yuqian touched his chest and explained a fact sadly, to be honest, at this age, I should have a girlfriend. Why, my heart hurts so much that I can't breathe. Yang Yu blinked. Senior brother Jian asked a good question. It's time to ask himself, why does Yang Yu not have a girlfriend? Damn it! None of these girls can fight. Jalajaluo. Chant. Seeing the geranium and the tropical dragon together, the chrysanthemum leaves and the bay leaves cheered excitedly on the island, along with the berries on their backs and the tightly tied mini dragon. It's time to celebrate. Me. 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 The mini dragon, which was tightly bound by the vine whip and looked like an elongated green caterpillar, tried hard to bite open an opening. Unfortunately, even after biting the opening, it was still unable to see what was happening outside, but it could bite the opening. That's enough. Come on, it wants to. It's already this time, with such excitement outside, dinner must have been served. Is there anything more enjoyable than eating? No. Even if the mini dragon is tied up to restrict its activities and the mini dragon's eyes are blindfolded, it can't stop it from eating tree fruits. Because the mini dragon can smell the sweet scent of tree fruits with its big white nose. Just as the mini dragon worked hard to bite the opening, and was about to open its mouth to bite the tree fruit, a bay leaf saw the mini dragon's efforts, and sighed at the difficulty of the mini dragon, and at the same time added more words to the place where it tore the opening. Got a cane whip. Mini dragon, asterisk. The chrysanthemums and grass leaves first put down a lot of fruits next to Mr. Salty Fish King, and then some little ones ran to Geranium and Tropical Dragon to form a circle, jumping around in the rainy evening. Bless this pair of new elves. Tropical Dragon brought Geranium to Wuyukin and showed him his new partner. At the same time, he bent his neck, reached into Wuyukin's backpack, took out a blank pokeball, and handed it to Wu Has money in his hands. Wuyukin. Congratulations to senior brother Qian on your gift of a geranium. Yang Yu's smile was almost crooked. Senior brother Qian himself was also a tough guy, and he also had his own plug-ins. I brought a milk can in the meteor forest and easily captured the powerful male Kentaro leader. Now, here on Vensang Island, I brought the tropical dragon and easily captured a powerful female geranium. This kind of strength is something Yang Yu cannot envy even if he wants to. Wuyukin looked at the blank elf ball in his hand silently. What happened to this elven world? Shouldn't it be that the trainer sends out elves to engage in an elf battle with wild elves, and after winning, is recognized by the wild elves, and finally successfully captures the wild elves? How did it become? What does it look like now? Send an elf to have a love affair with a wild elf that even a trainer cannot understand. At the same time, it will cause additional critical damage to the single trainer, and then you can capture it. Is there something wrong with Wuyukin's training methods? The female geranium stuck out her head and touched Wuyukin's fingers. The bond is formed. Wuyukin's brain hurts. Can you give him, an elite trainer, some face? After all, it's not too late to capture a spirited elf battle. No, you must not continue like this in the future. Protect your single elf from now on. Keep courting. Phew, please vote. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 478. For trainers, female and male elves are like the difference between raising a daughter and raising a son. If you raise a female elf like a milk tank, the trainer will regard those who want to get close to the milk tank as scum cows. It's best not to find an elf partner even if you're 50 years old. If you raise a male elf like Tropical Dragon, and when Tropical Dragon brings back a female geranium, the trainer may feel a lot better. After all, it is someone else's daughter who is disastered. Of course, no one can escape the law of true fragrance. Even though Wuyukin said he didn't want it, in fact, he was already prepared in his heart to go to Zhang Huiyu and the others to show off their skills when they arrive at the central island of the world. I never expected that I could catch a geranium here on Vensang Island. When the rain almost stopped, it was the time for Yang Yu and Wuyukin to continue heading towards the center island of the world. Goodbye, bye. Yeah. Yeah. Huja huji. Oh dash. Quack. Geranium, who was about to part with her friends from the Vensang Island population, couldn't help but rush into the team, hugging her friends and the Geranium leader goodbye. Got twist. The Geranium leader swung the flower tentacles above his head and wished the Geranium a better life. Senior brother Jian, you are crying. Haha, the wind was a bit strong and sand got in my eyes. The tropical dragon carried the Geranium on its back, just like Zhu Beiji carried his wife. He happily took the Geranium and continued to move forward on the road ahead. When they looked back, they were still standing there on the shore. Roar. The salted fish king didn't look back and kept going. Yang Yu, why did you let Bayleaf and the others tie up your mini dragon again? Wu Yuqian took back the tropical dragon and Geranium with a smile. After falling in love, the tropical dragon was also stupid, and the road behind it was very interesting. Can't fly all the time, let alone carry a Geranium. Haha, another mouthful of dog food, MMP. It wasn't me, but Bayleaf and the others were worried that the fruit would be eaten by the greedy mini dragon. However, they thoughtfully tied a bough so that I could carry the mini dragon. Yang Yu raised his hand. The stick he was holding tightly could still be vaguely seen twisting and turning. Yang Yu also admired it and couldn't complain at all. After unzipping the bough, the mini dragon that had broken free from its bindings became lively and energetic again. It didn't look angry at all. Instead, it looked at the vine whips with nostalgia in its eyes, and even felt a little nostalgic. Even if its throat is tightened by fate, it will still work hard to eat with happiness. Ali is here. I replenished some energy cubes for the mini dragon. Although this little thing is a little greedy, it still needs to be fed. The energy required for the growth of dragon elves is very large. A fixed number of energy cubes are given every day. The money is now Yang Yu can take it. I can only hope that the little guy will be more sensible when he grows up. The little dream demon is now much more sensible than when we first met him. Although his naughty temperament has not changed, at least he won't get into trouble. Yang Yu didn't want to become one of those rigid trainers. All elves seemed to be carved from a template, so what was the point of cultivating elves in this way? Dumb, how is that little thing Tijipai doing now? Yeah. Dede came to Yang Yu holding the incubator containing the Tijipai elf egg. For Dede, being able to hold a little life that was about to break out of its shell was of great significance, even to Dede. I am particularly happy that I can do this job. The word responsibility is the best explanation for Dede. Just wait and see. Your Tijipai's elf egg is the most famous elf egg university after all. As far as I know, Wan Kai's whose Yuan Lu shark elf egg has not been hatched yet. Cai Swanyi's Leo, it's possible that Lu's one has hatched. I'm raising elf eggs. I'm really in a hurry. Wu Yuqian carefully looked at the Tijipai elf eggs in the incubator and explained. I also know not to rush. Has senior brother Qian raised elf eggs before? Yang Yu asked. Wu Yuqian thought for a while and nodded immediately. I have raised a milk tank that was hatched from an elf egg. It was so cute at that time. When Wu Yuqian talked about Milk Can's childhood, his face was also full of smiles. The feeling of growing up with an elf was really the happiest thing in the elf world. The weather was good that day. By the afternoon, the sea was very calm. The deep blue sea stretched as far as the eye could see. On the back of the salted fish king, it still looked like a small boat floating in it. Putting on his sunglasses and finding a comfortable position, Yang Yu started fishing in the sea with a high-end fishing rod in his hand. Haha, senior brother Qian, let's make a bet. What kind of elf will the first one I catch be? Yang Yu slowly enjoyed the afternoon fishing time on the sea. Let's get a goldfish king to show off the high-end fishing rod, Wu Yuqian said with a smile, glanced sideways at the mini dragon on Yang Yu's neck, and quickly reminded, but, Yang Yu, you have to take good care of the mini dragon. Ah, don't let another mini dragon jump down to eat the bait on the fishing rod. When Yang Yu heard this, he couldn't help but sit up straight from his lazy sitting position. At the same time, he raised his head slightly and looked at the mini-dragon wrapped around his neck. Unexpectedly, the mini-dragon was really staring at the fishing rod with two eyes. Where it fell into the sea. Yang Yu reached out and pressed down the mini-dragon. Mini-dragon, oh! Don't stupidly jump down to eat the bait, it's not for you. Yang Yu stared at the mini-dragon with great seriousness, and then told the little dream demon next to the mini-dragon, "Little dream demon, you have to help me stop it, don't let the mini-dragon do stupid things." Little dream demon, oh! The little dream demon was gesticulating helplessly, stamping its feet and crying. If the mini-dragon really jumped down to eat the bait, 100 little dream demons wouldn't be able to stop it. Yang Yu found that this matter seemed to be really difficult for the little dream demon, so he patted the little dream demon on the head and comforted the little guy. "Well, little dream demon, I will put these energy cubes here for you first. If the mini-dragon seems to be hungry, feed it one immediately." Yang Yu took out a box and handed it to the little dream demon solemnly. "Little dream demon, you are my designated master of dragon training. You must work hard. I will pay you wages and bonuses. Carrot. Guaranteed to complete the task." The mini-dragon swallowed his saliva subconsciously. Salary. Bonus. Is that something more delicious than energy cubes? At this moment, Yang Yu's fishing rod moved. Cluck K. Yang Yu. Keep asking for votes. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 480. Why is it Magikarp again? Love is a ray of light, so red it makes you panic. The moment Yang Yu pulled up the high-end fishing rod, the red figure coincided with the sun, like a bright red sun, and he could still jump, toss, and wag his tail in the air. Yang Yu. Wu Yukin's eyes seemed to be in a daze, and his two eyeballs did not move at all. He stretched out a finger and pointed at the Carp King that fell into the palm of Yang Yu's hand and said, "Bot, bot, bot, bot." He was twitching and even wanted to laugh. "Junior brother Han, you are so lucky." Wu Yukin blinked and looked at Yang Yu, who was speechless. "I don't know. How did I catch a Carp King? I've already reached the sea, why am I still like this?" Yang Yu held the Carp King in his hand and stared at the Carp King for a few times. He tossed and turned, his dull eyes looking as confused as Yang Yu's. Numb, even a little scared. Cluck K. Yang Yu blinked and threw his head back. Plop. The Magikarp that fell parabola in the air just continued to twist its tail, and then fell into the ocean, as if nothing had happened just now. However, it's afraid. This is a soulless Magikarp. What is soul? Without essence, energy, and spirit, there is no soul. For those Carp Kings living in Meteor Lake, they have never seen the sea. In Meteor Lake, day after day, year after year, the water splashes and jumps, and maybe they don't know why they want water to splash. However, they have their own direction. Every year when the ice and snow melt, they have to move forward towards the sea. Although they don't know why they want to yearn for the sea, but with yearning, they have motivation. The journey to the sea is not always smooth sailing. The Magikarp will encounter obstacles one after another, and encounter crises one after another, which makes them understand that if they want to enter the sea, if they want to win, that doesn't exist. If they don't work hard to splash in the water, no one will be strong for them. The survival of the Magikarp that enters the sea from inland waters is more difficult than that of the Magikarp that lives in the sea all year round. The water splashing all the time will reveal your whereabouts on the sea. For the elf at the top of the food chain in the ocean, it is undoubtedly a provocation to the nerves. Living in the sea for a long time has worn away the edges of the Magikarp. Perhaps these polished Magikarp themselves may have forgotten that they can also perform such a move as water splash. Magikarp, the weakest elf in the ocean besides Tench, besides, they do not have the fish schooling characteristics of Tench. Once the weak tench encounter predators, they will quickly gather to form a terrifying sea monster. Through the power of the United Fish School, even the giant tooth shark, the overlord of the sea, must weigh whether to choose to fight this monster of the sea. Not Magikarp. For Magikarp, if you want to survive in the ocean, you must forget the instinctive splashing of water, because splashing constantly on the sea surface is undoubtedly asking for death. But if Magikarp forgets his instinctive water splash, is he still Magikarp? Some people say that the ocean is a paradise for water elves. That's because they only saw that the vast ocean was full of life, with countless water elves, and at the same time, it also contained a large number of unknown secret treasures. Ocean. It is a paradise for the strong and a hell for the weak. The ocean taught Carp King that if a tree is beautiful in the forest, the wind will destroy it. If it jumps out of the sea, if it is strong, it will eat it. Perhaps, these Magikarp once had their own population, but as time goes by, those Magikarp that keep jumping out of the water have disappeared in the long river of history, leaving only these carefree ones who have completely forgotten about the water splashing. The king of Magikarp who is living a secret life. They have lost their souls. The most terrifying thing in this world is not death, but forgetfulness. Forgetting the splashing water is the banishment of Magikarp himself. They live submissively at the bottom of the sea, never seeing the light of day. Even if they look up at the crystal bright sea, they dare not jump out to pursue the light that is within reach. Even if they poke their heads out, they don't dare. It's Magikarp again, but why, these Magikarp don't even splash in the water. Yang Yu reeled in the fishing rod again. There was no doubt that the fish he caught was still the king carp. But what he couldn't figure out was right here. Around the salted fish king. It should be surrounded by many Magikarp, right? Just like on a university campus, once the salted fish king makes a fierce roar or shows its huge true form, those carp kings will inevitably splash and jump with the most intense water to cheer for their king and greet them. King. But it's here. No Magikarp splashing around in the water. Not one. Even if there is not one. The smile on Wuyukin's face gradually disappeared, and then came a somewhat solemn tone. Junior brother Han, there is something wrong with these carp kings. They are so quiet, as if they have forgotten even the water splashing. Yang Yu looked at the still calm sea around him, his face full of doubts. Yet, his dull eyes showed some sadness. He was smart and had already guessed some truths about the sea. The little dream demon couldn't help but shrink his head, and leaned closely against Yang Yu's hair and the mini dragon. This is the same cold atmosphere as the ghost. But the ghost elves can also move and toss, and they have life and soul. But the carp king here. It's like losing your soul. Huja huji. Huja huji, the little fish dived a little, and after seeing the numb eyes of the carp king, it surfaced again in shock. Salted fish king, let's go and get out of here. Yang Yu lost any interest in fishing. There was a lifeless feeling in the air. Even though these carp kings were not really dead, this feeling of being without any ripples was like being in the Dead Sea. The forgotten Dead Sea. Roar. The salted fish king was silent. This was the first time since he evolved that he felt helpless silence. Even those Magikarp that were once locked in the containers of the Institute were never so lifeless. Suddenly, the salted fish king's expression condensed. A very slight, insignificant red dot seemed to appear in the corner of his eye. That small dot seemed to be working hard towards his direction. Yeah. The frustrated Dada was stunned for a moment, then suddenly raised his head and looked in the same direction as Xian Xian. Magikarp. It's a Magikarp splashing on the sea. That carp king, at this moment, is not splashing in the water all the time. That frequency, every time, seems to require all the strength of the body. Moreover, the frequency of the water splashing is getting slower and slower, and it is getting slower and faster. Slow. At this moment, a blue figure moved on the bottom of the sea. It's Xiao Bao Bao. Xiao Bao Bao vaguely saw a black figure, hiding on the bottom of the sea, swimming and stopping, seeming to enjoy the leisurely pursuit of prey for entertainment. The next second, as the seabed around the salted fish king became empty, the carp kings began to flee. At this moment, the elf felt the irresistible and dangerous aura ahead of it, immediately turned around and dived deep, disappearing into the deep sea. That's Megalodon. I'll take the bottle first. I'll update it later when I finish the bottle after get off work, please give me a vote.